What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark. I am the Toy Sheik, and as you can see here, we switched up the background just a little bit, but we'll be back in the studio in just a moment. I actually wanted to do a different type of video today, give you a chance to get to know me a little bit better by also posing the question to you guys, is what is one of your top fandoms? Maybe something you've always loved growing up, or maybe even something you've acquired in the last few years you're just over the moon about. I love to hear it. Definitely not as much toy related. Those kind of hobbies. And today, as you can see here, we're sitting in this sexy beast right here, so it definitely has something to do with cars, but it goes much deeper than that. So today, it's story time. Let's go.
Alright guys, so let's take it back to 1995 when Initial D is first released in Japan in its manga style format in a young men's magazine. It does really well, and in 98 they followed it up with a cartoon series that closely follows the manga that was previously already released. But it wouldn't be until 01 when we, the Americans, would finally get our first taste of Initial D when Tokyo Pop, or Funimation now as it's known, Crunchyroll, you guys might know, started to release the dubbed over versions of the first few series of Initial D. Now, there are these gray ones here, and they were released in 3-episode DVDs. They were released, I think, about every 3 or 4 months. And that was the thing, is sometimes like it wouldn't come out, and you'd be like, why isn't there a movie that's coming out? I would race home, I remember, with my little paychecks on lunch or after I got off work to Media Play or Suncoast Video, whoever decided to get that issue in, because sometimes they wouldn't get in, and then I'd go to both and it was like no one ever got them. They didn't drop. I don't know why. It would drive me insane because it was a really big deal to me. I would run home at night, lights off, completely zoned in, watch the 3 episodes. They end on cliffhangers every time. It's like a great comic book that drives you insane because you have to wait months just to get another one of them to find out what happens, and it always cuts on the really good part. But that was really one of my favorite shows that existed for sure. Like growing up, I never missed like an issue that came out. I didn't know that they were further creating episodes of Initial D for years to come in Japan, since I was only getting the American versions. But during this time of 2001, let's take it back to, I was really into the car culture out of high school, and just like a lot of you guys, I was always collecting toys, but I got into more things, girls' toys, or girls' cars, that kind of stuff. I still selected and bought toys throughout the year, but I spent most of my year savings to soup up my cars and whatnot. So, but during that time, it kind of sucks because, I mean, toys were nothing. All the grails that people look for and want, I've seen all of them for nothing. All the turtle figures, nothing. Dollars. It's just crazy how much all that stuff is like risen. But now it's definitely flip-flop. I do more of the toys and less into my car. But during the time, that was a huge thing I was into, was the car culture, as well as being heavy into the Japanese car culture specifically. And just like toy collecting, very much into international stuff. I love looking at other cultures and styles and whatnot. I was a huge Honda head, so I was getting magazines of a Bonsai when I could find them at the small shops on the corners. Any DVDs that I could import over. Best Motoring, Hot Version Japan, any motorsport videos kind of bootleggy that I could find to show to my friends. We were really into Gran Turismo 3. I remember I had a wheel. We would play that. Actually, I might not have got the wheel till Gran Turismo 4 came out, I believe. So, but we were really into that. We played that for hours, souping up cars, doing time attacks and whatnot. And during that time, before it became very popular in America, since I was already into a lot of the Japanese stuff, I found out about drifting, and I would get these videos and I would show my friends that, and I'm like, this is going to be huge when it comes, which it did wind up being very much so. But before there was all this hype for it, I had found out about Initial D based on the real pro driver Keiichi Tsuchiya, who is basically the godfather of drifting. The Drift Bible that's there, a lot of these ones, the test drivers on these, the judge of the initial drifting phenomenon that came to America, and basically the story that Initial D, Takumi Fujiwara, is based on. He is the kid who drives the 8.6, the Toyota Trueno. It was really cool because I already looked up to him. There's very few heroes that I do look up to. A few be motorsports drivers. Rest in peace, Ken Block, one of them who just recently passed. But I've always loved Tsuchiya, and so when I found out this Initial D and knew it was coming to America, I definitely had to get on top of it. And it wouldn't be too many years later I was able to finally see the other series that were released in Japan, series Stage 3, 4, 5, and 6, as well as now they have more current ones, Initial D Legend, which is a movie series of a compressed version following Takume as he goes up against some of his rivals, Kesuke, as well as Rai Takahashi, some of my favorite names, some of my favorite characters ever. It shows there's some of his mentors as well as rivals that he goes up against in the series as he climbs through the ranks of street racing to become the best driver in all of Gunma, as well as the following prefectures. As the show goes on, he just becomes the best driver all around. And it's absolutely amazing. With the storyline, you got a little bit of cheesy drama thrown in there. It's like a high school drama thing, but the race scenes are some of the best that's ever existed. For sure. It has a 3D mixed with 2D animation to the cartoon. I started rewatching this again, and that is what brought me to wanting to talk about this topic. But each time I watch it, I'm always get that feel. I'm always drawn back in. I can't just sit there and put it on and not pay attention. So I really have to just like set time to it, or else I would probably have watched it more. But in 2023, which is the year we live in now, there is a new version that is coming out, a continuation of the Initial D series 15 years in the future, but it is by original creator Shuichi Shinjio, and he followed up with manga, which I believe is already out, but there's going to be a show just like the Initial D show did come out. I don't have a release date when that's dropping. I just found out about when I was researching this time, but it does follow a new Toyota FRS or 86, Toyota 86 new version as the driver who has been trained by Takume, following the future where there's electric cars and they do these races on a toge. So very, very excited. It's got a cell shading type style to the trailer that I did see. You can check that online. It's called NF Ghost if you want to see that. So very excited to see the continuation of this. I have all the stuff that was released, including the live action Initial D movie, which I want to say came out in like 2013 or 14, something like that. It's really, really horrible. I knew it was horrible. It doesn't follow. It's just like one of the live action movies. It doesn't really follow it all the way, but have some of the cars and stuff in there. It's a horrible movie. The cartoon is so good. It's my favorite anime that has ever existed. I love the 90s anime with their style, their big eyes, that's that drawing, that's that classic anime, and Initial D is definitely one of them. Surprisingly, like not a lot of collectibles and things for Initial D has come out. There were some Hot Wheel Matchbox style cars. They have a larger size by Jada Toys. It came with the guys, the little miniatures. And I wish I would have got those back in the day because they looked really, really solid, and they're quite pricey now. I do have the Hot Wheels still. They're packed away. I couldn't find them this time. But and then of course my IDs that I have from the game that you could get when you did play the live action interpretation of Initial D in arcade form, and that would be around the time of, I don't know, maybe 2003, who knows, when I walked into Cineplex movie theater down on State Street and saw a set of Initial D arcade racing games sitting there. And if you guys know arcade games, it's that same format style with the wheel and the pedals and whatnot, but this one's different. The steering on it is much looser. It has all the tracks and characters and cars from the games that it does follow from all the series. I want to say up until probably most of the final season. A lot of the cars are in there. The tracks are the same that you remember when watching the show, with the incredible Eurobeat music that was so big for that time. It's very upbeat music that puts you in the mood to want to race the shit out of someone, and when you're on this game there's no difference. So they have time attack, you go up against opponents in the regular gameplay, but as well as being able to race people, and when you win you stay on. So after introducing my friends to Initial D, they fell in love. Then I told them about the arcade game. We were hooked. We would go there every Sunday with our $5 each, take turns setting time attacks, racing against each other. It was a really, really big thing. But I really was obsessed with it. I would go all the time. So much, in fact, that I had to get a pillow specifically for the racing of the stupid hard little plastic chair. It was insane. I would draw and write down these maps to like try to figure out them perfectly to set the better times. And my name, Fast, is what I would always put in, because you would get this ID card when you first signed up, allowing you to select a car where you'd be able to soup it up as you progress throughout the game and progress through winning people. You have an aura on your card that it would emanate after you got to a certain level or after you got to a certain level of defeats of others. And the auras would change as it goes up. And I want to say like Rainbow was the hardest to get. That's like God mode, and when you see that, you're like, oh, shit, like this dude's beat a lot. So I don't know if any of my cards ever got to Rainbow, honestly. I have a few there that I didn't even know I have. I do have the Trueno car. That wasn't one of my best. My first car is my Sylvia S15, and this car I have through all the games. They have released many versions of the arcade console out there, a lot in Japan that I've never even had the pleasure of playing, that are super up to date, but this card has always followed me. Funny enough, my Nissan GTR R32 is better. I have everything beat on this, all-time set. This thing is crazy, but this card means so much to me, and honestly I'd really like to have this in a graded case just to keep this forever, just for me. I know it's not worth anything, but it absolutely means so much. So those cards were really great, and for a real long time we set these times in the courses, and one day we came and I started to see a different name on there. I was like, who is this person who is setting these records? Because we never see them. The times were getting beat, and they were like high times, and kept making me go higher and higher. So one day we went, I remember, and there was a crew of other kids, and they all had their cards, and they were taking turns just like us. And I saw the kid had beat this other kid. He put his name in, and it was that kid. And I remember just like my heart beating. I was like, this is the kid. This is the guy. I was so stoked. I was, I gotta race this guy. I gotta race this guy. So like, we raced, and I shit you not, to this day, live racing, real time or arcade video game, I've never had a racing experience as insane as the one I did that day. We were like the show. We were just super tuned in, no mess ups. If you messed up, you lost. Like, we were taking turns, tandem drift, full speed, just, oh my gosh, we were so in the zone. It was crazy. Like, I win, he win, I win, he win. And I remember like leaving all in like a tie, and it drove me crazy. I was like, this guy, it was so fun. And I was like, I cannot wait to see him again. I'm going to beat him. It was just like the show. He was my Rai Takahashi, and I was like, I'm going to beat him next time, and I'd practice even more. And after then, like, our skill level went even higher. And so like, we barely beat these time attacks by increments, and we just like keep coming and beating them. And oh man, it was so crazy. It was such a really great time. I would take these cards, I would go all around whenever I would be able to travel, and I would, if they had a machine, you could look it up online on the forum and see what the machines were, and it was really great time in my life, and it meant so much to me, and it still does every time I watch it, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. I remember more in recent times, not like super recent, but I remember going out and this kid had a pair of Takumis on. I was like, that's what I called him when I went up to him. He's like, what? He's like, why are you like walking up on me like this? And I was like, you got the Initial D shoes? And they were. I'd never seen them. They're by Hardtune Japan. They're called the Fiji 2s. I'll put a picture of them right there, and they're limited release. They're not like too expensive, so I actually have always wanted them. I definitely will grab a pair of them. But I saw them, and before then, like, I never even saw any clothing of Initial D. But like those shoes, I was like, oh my gosh, Initial D. And he was like, dude, this guy's like a major fan. He's probably like, get off away from me. So fun. So fun. I was very excited to see those. I've always wanted them ever since, so definitely need to pick those up. But spilling into drifting into cars, it still is a thing. It's very important to me. I'm very passionate about it still. I just don't get to do it and put as much into it. It is a very expensive hobby, just like everything else that we do. But Initial D is one thing that will always mean something to me. And I love sharing it. I definitely want to close the rocket and show my love for it. There's no doubt about that. So what do you guys think? What are one of your top fandoms, man? What did you think about Initial D? If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Really great series, whether you're a guy or a girl. It is very car oriented, and so you do learn a lot about the cars, but it's really fun at the same time. I wish cartoons nowadays still did that stuff to really entertain and teach the kids things, because even if you went in not knowing about cars, you left knowing a little bit. I will love it forever. So I hope you guys really enjoyed learning about this today. It was a kind of a squished up version of Initial D. If you want to know more, go Google, wiki it up. Go check some stuff out on that. If you are new to the channel, we do all kinds of toy, comic, and pop culture related goodness. Today we checked out some mechanics, so I hope you enjoyed it. It's anime, it's pop culture, it's awesome. We do it on the channel, so just stay tuned. I try to drop videos as soon as I can. I'm always working on stuff for you guys. If you guys like comic books, make sure you check out the last video I did. There's a giveaway, so if you guys watch it and like what you see, get that subscribe, hit that comment, let me know, and you get entered to win, which I will give away on the next time I drop a comic video. So get those votes in if you really enjoy it, and hit a like button on this one if you guys got something out of it. Much appreciation. Come back for more. My name is Toy Chic. Mad love, geek out. See you guys on the Toge.